History tells us that the side with the best generals usually lead the
scene during the season in review. There are plenty of stars on both teams that have contributed mightily to both teams being undefeated. George, I know you believe that the team that is able to pass the best today is the team that will win.
These teams are so much alike, Stan. I believe that Doug Strang especially must have a good day throwing the football if Penn State is to have any chance of winning this game today against a great Texas defense. He has young, inexperienced receivers, and he has an inexperienced offensive line. We'll have to protect him against a hard-charging, blitzing Texas defense, and he must be able to hit those receivers as he did against Iowa.
Well, Doug Strang has completed less than 43% of his passes this year, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Steve, if he wants to keep that interception total at 4, you'd better stay away from Jerry Gray.
Jerry Gray is the latest in a long line of great athletes to play defensive back. He has tremendous athletic skill. He was recruited by Oklahoma and Brigham Young as a quarterback prospect. He came here to Texas because he wanted to play defense. He's also an on-the-field coach this year. The freshmen and sophomores back there with him are very inexperienced, so Jerry Gray has to be an on-the-field leader athletically as well as emotionally.
Jerry Gray, an All-American, had an interception against Auburn 2 weeks ago. George, Penn State gets a big offensive weapon back this week. DJ Dozier has missed the last 2 games, is back and 100%.
That's right, Stan. DJ has been out 2 weeks with a pulled groin, but he'll be back today at full strength. We see him here on taking a ball against Rutgers for a short gain, but DJ is one of the premier backs in the country. He's big, he's strong, he's fast, he has all the moves, and every time he touches that football, he's a threat to go all the way. Penn State will need him today.
Steve, I don't know if DJ Dozier has ever met Tony DeGreat, but I would imagine they'll cross paths 1 or 2 times this afternoon.
The University of Texas hopes they cross paths at the line of scrimmage. They feel the first down is the very important play, and Tony DeGreat is the key to trying to contain Penn State. Number 99 in these highlights, 6'4", 280, tremendous quickness off the ball. He has great strength, obviously, but it is the quickness that makes him so special. Off the field, he is an art major who plans to study in Europe after graduation, but he says he still has a few more heads to crack before that happens.
Well, they say that both sports and art is a form of creative expression, and Tony DeGreat does it in both venues. We talk about big stars on both football teams. There are plenty here today, but in a big football game like this, oftentimes it's some obscure reserve linebacker who may make the big play to decide the game. We will hear comments from both head coaches when we return in just a moment. Will be on hand to watch Penn State take on the Texas Longhorns. Today's game brings together 2 of the finest coaches in the country. Fred Akers, in his 8th year at Texas, has a record at Texas of 67-17-1. Joe Paterno of Penn State, in his 19th year, has the 2nd best winning percentage among all active coaches. Interesting thing about this matchup, as we have chronicled, they've only met once before, and yet there seems to be a rivalry between the 2. And the question is, why haven't only played once before?
The way they do things, the type of people they are, and we hope that that's a mutual feeling.
I think Texas is a very proud state, very proud of their traditions and what they've done, and they should be. They're magnificent people. The Texans I know, and I've been around when we've been at Cotton Bowls and what have you, I like Texas people. They're almost as nice as Brooklyn people.
Fred, you've played 1 game. Penn State has played 3. Do you feel that's a disadvantage?
Well, I'd rather have played 3 ball games. Whether it's a disadvantage or not might be debated. Most coaches would rather have the 3 if they're wins, and they've shown improvement and their confidence is high. I think that is a definite advantage. Most coaches would probably feel that way.
Do you look at that as a particular advantage?
If we're equal, I think it's an advantage. I think that if I had my choice, I'd rather have played 3 games and played 1. Yeah, I think it's to our advantage.
Last week, or 2 weeks ago, against Auburn, they passed for 215, ran for 126. It appears that they're looking for more balance in their offense.
Well, actually, it's a more balanced offense than I've seen Texas have for several years. Usually they had a running quarterback in there. When they wanted to pass, they would put a passing quarterback in there. This kid can do both, Dodge. He ran well. He took the ball in from 10 yards out on a boot and outran people. And I do think they have a better balanced offense and will be much more difficult for us to defense this year. In fact, a lot of the plans we had made over the summer, we've had to junk because of the fact that they're throwing the ball so well.
I haven't been satisfied with our rushing game, and we intended to pass the ball more regardless. And I think that's going to be the pattern for us, because I think it's the best way for us to move the football.
They did a good job on Bo Jackson. Did you see anything that they designed specifically to stop the 1 back? And if so, Can you take advantage of that if they try the same with Dozier?
Well, I think that they played Jackson very well. They tackled very well. Gray, the safety, is a guy that really stopped Jackson. He made a couple of plays when Jackson looked as if he was going to go for a big play, and they didn't do anything different than they would do. Gray's just a great football player.
Does one get in trouble attempting to stop the single great back, as might be in the case of DJ Dozier?
Well, most of the time, you can't afford just to stop one person. And if you put all your eggs in one basket, you're going to find that you get egg in your face a lot of times. So we can't afford to stop just one man. They're far too balanced for that. We just try to do the best we can to slow them down. I don't know if you can stop a guy like Dozier.
We'll be back right after this. Back to Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Penn State against Texas. Home team certainly was not decided on geography. Since this is a neutral site, they had a coin flip. Penn State called it. They lost. Texas will be wearing the burnt orange jerseys. They will be designated as the home team. Steve, I think perhaps it's prudent to mention that Texas has some injury difficulties in the backfield.
Well, Edwin Simmons, the fine sophomore tailback, is back in Austin, Texas, watching this game on television. Ronnie Robinson, a combination fullback tailback, has turf toe. Whether he can play or not, we just don't know. That leaves Jerome Johnson, Rob Morishell, who started 9 games at quarterback last year at tailback. Either one could start there, or maybe Terry Orr.
Well, we'll have to wait and see along with everyone else. Let's go down on the field now for the toss of the coin.
Do you want to give your choice now or in the second half? Second half. Penn State wins the toss, declines their option in the second half. Texas, you can kick, receive, or defend the ball. What goal do you want to defend? Texas, receive. Good luck.
All right, Texas will receive. Penn State will kick off, and we'll be back with that opening kickoff in just a moment. Penn State won the toss, but elected to take the option in the second half. George, is that because they want the option in the second half, or they would rather play defense to start the ball game?
Well, I think what they're going to do is see how the tempo of the game will go. The wind is not a factor today, so they're going to kick the ball at Texas, see how their defense holds up, and just play it from that position on.
Back deep for Texas. On the bottom of your screen, that is Kelvin Epps. On the top of your screen, Tony Tillman. Tillman averaging 21 yards per return. Kicking off for Penn State will be Massimo Manca. Now, Penn State splits the kicking duties. Manca, number 10, kicks off, but Nick Gancitano, number 13, does the place kicking. A bowl game atmosphere at Giant Stadium. The second meeting between these two teams. The game is underway. The kick high, 5 yards deep. Epps will stay there. Texas will start out 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Let's set the starting lineups. Todd Dodge at quarterback, Terry Orr the tailback, Jerome Johnson the fullback, Harris the tight end, Brent Duhan the wideout, the flanker Kelvin Epps, and across the front in a big offensive line averaging 268 pounds, Greg Wright, Paul Jeton, Gene Chilton, Brian Chester, and John Stewart. First down, 10 yards to go, first play from scrimmage. Wing right with tight end Joe Monroe. Johnson gets outside. He's got the first down across the 30 and near the 31-yard line. Mike Zordich, Penn State's hero back, knocked him out of bounds. but it'll be a bit better than a 10-yard gain and a Texas first.
Balance line on the first play. Ran a sweep to the right. They had a tight wing back. Good formation.
White, Moles, Russo, and Dan Morgan across the front. Penn State plays a 4-3, 4 deep. That is Joe Monroe, the tight end, again with the wing right and the unbalanced line. Johnson again, up the middle, this time powering his way out to the 38-yard line. And we've got a fly. Hamilton, the corners, the strong safety, is Ray Isom.
Stan, Texas has come out with a power formation. They have moved Terry Steelhammer to center. Gene Chilton, the starting center, is now over at tackle. Texas going with a power formation. Very much like they used in the Auburn game last year to start the season.
All right, so there's your first surprise of the game. Obviously, it's being effective. Chilton had been an offensive tackle, was switched to center just this year. So he is not at all unfamiliar with the tackle position. Joe Monroe, again the same formation. Second down, bit more than 2. Johnson hit in the line of scrimmage and driven back. He'll gain a yard, and it'll bring up third down and a yard to go. Donnie Graham, inside linebacker, a sophomore from Pittsburgh, made the tackle. Bring up third down and short.
Well, it's obvious that Coach Akers feels that he can run at this Penn State defense. Now watch this. Johnson, number 35, big tough back. There's a tight end and a wing back. You get 53. Donnie Graham shoots the gap and makes the tackle.
Third down, short yardage. First possession of the football game just underway. We've played a little bit more than a minute. 3rd and 1. Johnson, first down and then some. He's got the first down out at the 46-yard line. The gain is 6, and Texas' second first down. Mike Zordich and Don Graham making the tackle.
Jerome Johnson, using that old cliche, is one of the better backs Texas has at running to daylight. You get that strong wingback formation. Johnson can either go inside or outside, depending on Chilton and Joe Monroe, the extra tight end, on whether they block down or kick out. That time he went outside.
4 plays, all on the ground. Texas, 2 first downs, shifting out of the I to the pro set. Monroe in motion. Handoff inside, and driving up to the 48-49 yard line is Terry Orr. Dan Morgan made the tackle. George, what is it?
Penn State was ready for it.
Gain of 2, second down, 8 yards to go, and perhaps the first passing down. Johnson fumbles the ball, picks it up, it is still loose, and he is hit at the line of scrimmage and stopped for no gain. Zordich and Lance Hamilton making the tackle for Penn State, but the play was really aborted when Johnson did not get the handoff cleanly.
The hole was there as well. Once again to the outside with Terry Orr leading the way. That's a good handoff. Jerome just didn't get a good grip on it. He was lucky it bounced back to him, but that delayed him getting around the corner just enough to let the pursuit of Penn State catch up with him.
Also, Texas is disguising what they're trying to do by putting the wing back on the line of scrimmage, so it looks like it's balanced, then putting him in motion.
Third down, 7 yards to go for a first down. Rob Morshell is in the game. He's the deep man in the eye, and we've got motion going to be called on Paul Jaton, the left guard. That'll cost Texas 5 and make it third down and 12.
Ten ball. Illegal procedure.
I don't think the referee is from the National Independence. I detected a slight accent. That is James Garvey, and there are the rest of the officials again, a split crew. So now Texas facing a third down and 12. Brent Duhan split wide left. It is a slot left. Morshell in motion to the far side. Dodge throwing over the middle, and it is caught at the 40-yard line. Still on his feet and down to the 39-yard line. It'll be good for a Texas first down. Ray Isom made the tackle on Bill. It's the tight end, switches sides. This is Morshell again, up the middle, inside the 30 and down near the 29. He'll be very close to a first. It was a first down. Texas at the Penn State 29. No score in the ball game. Morshell, this time there's no running room whatsoever, and Morshell is hit and driven back. He'll lose a yard. Shane Conlon One of Penn State's outside linebackers makes the tackle. Conlon is a sophomore, 6'3", 212 from Frewsburg, New York, and most capable of making a big play.
Stan, an added word about moving Chilton around. What happens, the defense see him line up as a center, and lots of times you line up on the man you think is the center. Then when they move him over, it gives them a lot of problems lining up when they go on balance. It's a very clever offensive strategy by Texas.
You can't hide Chilton. He weighs 295 pounds. Second down, 11. Play fake, and Dodge trips and falls over his own man. He tripped over Rob Morshell, lost his footing, and he falls down back at the 36-yard line.
That was a misdirection play designed to get the tight end to the short side of the field, who was running a curl out, and Rob Morshell and Todd Dodge, not used to working together as a tailback and halfback, simply trip over their own feet. Now watch.
That's exactly right, Steve. It was going to be a counter boot, and actually Morshell's he's the culprit on that. He should have gone a little wider.
Final stats will show with Rob Morshell having one tackle. Third down, 17 yards to go for the first down. Bill Boy Bryant, short motion. Here's Dodge, he beats the rush. Now he throws over the middle, and it is intercepted by Penn State. Down at the 18-yard line. The pass intercepted by Ray Isom. And so Texas drive is stopped on the turnover on a long yardage third down play.
Well, Stan, what happened on that?
We'll catch you when we come back. There's a timeout in the action. The score, Penn State nothing, Texas nothing. We'll be back right after this. Texas driving to the Penn State 36, but halted on the first turnover of the game.
Here comes Penn State with a blitz. That's Morgan, number 59. He puts enough pressure on Dodge that he throws off the wrong foot, the back foot a little bit too much. Has nothing on the ball. Sidner, he steps right in front, makes the interception. Penn State stops the drive.
As you point out, the pass poorly thrown. Sidner was in the right place at the right time. Here comes Penn State, starting from their own 17-yard line, their first possession of the game. Strang, play fake, looking and throwing deep. Bellamy is wide open, and it's off his fingertips at the 45-yard line. Herb Bellamy had a touchdown, but the pass just a little bit too long.
Great opening call, because Texas uses run support so much from their defensive backs that James Lott, a sophomore, took the play-action fake on one-on-one coverage, and the man was wide open.
Well, he has to catch those, though. It would take a big-time catch, but at least he could have caught it, left his feet.
There you see Bellamy and the Penn State offensive line. Bellamy is a redshirt freshman from Staten Island, New York. Great speed and big hands. Rocky Washington motion far side. Fullback Steve Smith up the middle, got a hold of the 20 and across to the 24-yard line. Steve Smith, sophomore from Clinton, Maryland, picking up 7. It'll be 3rd and 3. Middle linebacker Tony Edwards made the tackle, and last week or 2 weeks ago against Auburn, Edwards had 14 solo tackles. For Texas, McKinney, All-American Tony DeGreat, Hethcock, and Blake Bronner across the front. Alert, Edwards, and June James are the linebackers. The secondary, Lott, Jeffries, Braggs, and All-American Jerry Gray. Penn State, 3rd down 3 at their own 24-yard line. Tony Mumford, wing right. It was Eric Hamilton in motion to the far side. Strang, short drop, looking, fires to Bellamy. He's got it up at the 29-yard line. That'll be good for a Penn State first down. James Lott, left corner, made the tackle.
Stan, what Penn State's doing, they're putting 3 receivers to one side of the field. All right, now what that does, well, you see it here, is a one-back offense. They use motion, and this creates a problem for somebody who plays man-to-man defense. They were looking for the first down all the time. Bellamy went down and hooked up about 7 yards, caught the ball, made the first down.
Penn State's initial first down of the game. In case you joined us late, Texas took the opening kickoff march from their own 20 to the Penn State 36. But then Todd Dodge was intercepted by Chris Sidner. Strang, again looking for the out pattern. He throws, and it is incomplete. The pass intended for Bellamy, and James Lott climbed over the top to knock.
That pass was open. That ball was a little late in getting there, because Lott was about 6 yards off, and a quicker throw would have been a completion, I think.
Right, Steve, but it was a good defensive play.
Yes, it was.
Lott can jump on. He almost scissored the receiver as he went over. Second down, 10 yards to go. Strang, 1 out of 3. Delayed draw to Tony Mumford, looking to get outside. No such luck. He'll gain a yard if he's lucky. The hole closed very quickly by the Texas linebacker. Auburn rolled up 460 yards, but as has been pointed out, Steve, a lot of that was because Texas jumped out and Auburn was playing catch-up.
And a lot of new faces playing their first game as starters for Texas.
Texas comes with a nickel back. One of the linebackers comes out alert. 3rd and 9. Here's the roll by Strang. He throws, and it is almost intercepted. Ill-advised pass and almost picked off by James Lott, who switched the corner as Texas went to the nickel defense.
Went to the nickel defense, but Eric Jeffries, number 1, the cornerback, came on the blitz. He and June James put so much pressure on Strang, he had to get rid of it when he really...
John Bruno, a sophomore, averaging 37.9 per return. Kelvin Epps is the return man for Texas. Well, the short man is going to take it to the 38, to the 40, and the 41-yard line. So Texas will start with good field position. Kurt Bernier makes the tackle for Penn State on the special team. There's a timeout in the action. 6:56 to play, first quarter. Penn State nothing, Texas nothing. We'll be back right after this.
Very well prepared for this football game today.
And that's the best way to get Rob Morshell the football, too. Get him swung wide out there to get some lead blockers.
Both wideouts, Duhan and Bryant, come out of the game as they go to a power I right. This is Orr. Big hole up the middle to the 40. He's on his way. 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Texas. Terry Orr, a 51-yard touchdown run.
Terry Orr, a fullback tailback, has the speed to break it once he gets outside. The senior from Abilene is Texas' best blocker, but again, they went to that power formation, bringing in the 2 tight ends and the wingback. This is basically
7, Penn State nothing. We'll be back right after this.
Give them something new, something economical and refreshing. Give them heart.
Join us for our next telecast of National Independent Football, Saturday, October 6th at 12 noon, when the Maryland Terrapins meet the Penn State Nittany Lions on the TCS MetroSports television network. That may be a bit presumptuous. They're inviting us back next week. I haven't even heard us this week yet. Terry Orr, the 51-yard touchdown run. So Texas and Jeff Ward will kick off deep for Penn State. On the bottom of your screen, that is Kevin Woods, a freshman, averaging 24.7 yards per return. Defensive back Lance Hamilton, the other return man, standing at their own 5-yard line. Ward's kick coming to Hamilton at his 1-yard line. Gets out to the 20 and the 22-yard line. Michael Brown, 17. I'm wondering if the fact that it was a 2nd and 2, if Penn State wasn't aligned in the short yardage defense, and a lot of times you see that break for a big play.
Well, that happens a lot when you're playing for the short yardage once the back gets through. But I think Chilton and Chester are doing a great job on their offensive line. He got clean, and Johnson put a block on ice from me, and he was on.
Smith and Mumford are behind Doug Strang. Tony Mumford up the middle. Gets good yardage out to the 27-yard. Penn State, their own 27. Fullback Smith looking outside. Gets to the 30, near the 31-yard line. He'll be a half-yard shy of the first down. Jerry Gray, All-American free safety, made the tackle. It'll be 3rd down, half-yard. Smith didn't quite have the speed to get to the corner.
That was a pretty good run, though. Texas on short yardage bring their linebackers up a little tighter. He saw there was nothing to the inside, tried to make it to the sidelines, got him close enough for a measure.
And that's a good example of Jerry Gray, because the run support, that looked like it might be good for 5, 6, maybe 7 yards, but Gray closed so fast that they have to measure.
Jerry Gray, a great deal responsible for clearing up the Heisman Trophy situation. They're a foot short, it'll be 3rd and a foot. It was Jerry Gray, as we saw our pregame show, that tackled Bo Jackson along the sideline of Auburn and separated his shoulder. And of course, Napoleon McCallum went out a couple of weeks ago.
Well, I know Joe Paterno thinks Jerry Gray is probably the finest defensive back in the country, and he was a difference in the Auburn game.
Jerry Gray ranks right there with the line of Texas has had lately. Glenn Blackwood, Johnny Johnson, Raymond Claiborne at New England Patriots.
They're not too bad.
No.
Mossy K.
Bobby Johnson.
Got to get Mossy to sign a contract here soon. He's rusting. Penn State on a 3rd down and a foot will go with a double tight end as Brian Seiberling comes in along with Dean DeMidio. Third down, about a foot to go for a first down. Lining up in a pro set, Smith and Mumford behind Strang. With Smith in motion, this is Mumford. He's got the first down to the 32-yard line. But Penn State taking up their second first down. First and 10. The only freshman in Penn State history in a long line of great running backs to rush for over 1,000 yards. He has missed the last 2 games with a pulled groin, but he is expected to play today. Strang, the short drop, pump fake, firing deep, and it is overthrown, intended for Eric Hamilton. Pass too tall. Eric Jeffries, right corner, on the coverage. Eric Hamilton is a sophomore from Cleveland, Ohio. Has 8 catches this year for an average of 18 yards per catch.
Texas in single coverage that time with Jeffries, who did not take the pump fake, stayed right with the receiver. Ball overthrown.
Well, they're trying to, Texas plays man-to-man on the corners, and that helps them with their run support. They're trying to get them off a little bit, Steve. So you get some value over that, even though it's an incomplete pass.
It's a good point. Texas feels so confident in their passing, their defensive secondary. They do play a great deal of man-to-man. Mumford picking his way. TCS MetroSports in consultation with the University of Texas and Penn State University. That's good news. I didn't know we were getting paid. That's nice. Third down, 8 yards to go. Penn State, their own 34-yard line, trailing 7-0. Play fake. And a good rush by the Longhorns. Strang is thrown for a loss at his own 24-yard line.
The doctors are working on him. He's taking off his shirt and shoulder pads. David Fulbright was in on that play, number 29, covering the tight end.
We're celebrating there, and I'll tell you something, in our studios here, Doug Flutie looks on at this celebration and has a big smile on his face, because this could increase your chances for a national championship. You said that they beat them at their own game today, though.
Yeah, Syracuse took it right at Nebraska. They put the ball on the ground the last drive, went the length of the field, took up 8 minutes, and just pounded away at them and forced Nebraska to put the ball in the air a little more than they wanted to.
You're as energetic a spectator as you are as a player. You love that game. Now look who could be #1, though, Doug and Pat, as Texas and Penn State now out in the Meadowlands, 28-3. They're in the 4th quarter. This was supposed to be a neutral site. Fred Akers said, I'd rather go to Amarillo, Texas. Anyway, Texas got on the board first as Terry Orr took the handoff, runs up the middle, and goes all the way for a touchdown.
Well, the biggest difference, though, in this year's Texas team is their offense, and they're throwing the ball very, very well. And here you're going to see some evidence of it. Todd Dodge, 84 yards to William Harris. Now, they couldn't do this last year. It cost them a national championship. Who knows? They'll probably be #1 right now. And with that kind of offense, they have an excellent chance. Now, here's another look at number 35, Jerome Johnson. Picks up a good block by Terry Orr as fullback. Follows that in the end zone for an easy score.
So Texas could be looking at #1, you think, this week?
Absolutely.
All right, they're in the 4th quarter there, 28-3. Tennessee and Auburn now, a final, 29-10, Auburn over Tennessee. And the first time Auburn had the ball today, they had a little trouble with it. They were on the goal line and they fumbled, but they got it back, and Pat Washington pitches out to Kyle Collins here, who breaks a tackle, and watch him tiptoe into the end zone. Auburn led it 7-0. Then Tennessee came back, Pat.
They did come right back, and their quarterback, Tony Robinson, the crowd was pretty excited. Throws to number 87, Joey Clinkscales. Again, a nice adjustment, came right over the shoulder. It concentrated on the ball beautifully for the score. Then you're going to get another look at Kyle Collins. Now remember, Auburn runs the wishbone. They run a lot of option plays, but they can change it up and run power football, and that's precisely what happened here as Collins takes a pitch, followed a couple of blocks, got a good hold from his fullback, and followed him into the end zone.
Okay, of course, Kyle Collins is Bo Jackson's replacement down there, and he had a great day. 29-10, that's a final. Vanderbilt and Alabama, 23-13. Alabama is now 1-3. They haven't been that way since 1956. West Virginia and Pittsburgh, 28-10 in the 4th quarter. Foge Fazio is looking at 0-4 right now. Arkansas State and Texas A&M, they gave them a run for their money. Arkansas State is Division I AA school. It's 22-21. There's still time left in that contest. Georgia Tech and Clemson, look at this score, 21-0 in the 3rd quarter. The last time Georgia Tech was 3-0 was 10 years ago in 1970. Danny Ford, of course, wanted to beat everybody in the ACC. He's not having good luck with that. Maryland Wake Forest, 38-17. They're in the 4th quarter. North Carolina now and Kansas, 23-3. They are in the 3rd quarter. And College Football Report will roll on from New York City after the...
Sprinter at 9-3. Whoa. Fly. Getting some playing time. 1st and 10. Penn State at 21. Their deepest penetration of the half. Kisner scrambling, firing over the middle, and it is caught at the 6-yard line.
Great catch.
Paul Pomfret, reserve tight end, makes the catch at the 6. And if I'm not mistaken, the 21-yard line is Penn State's deepest penetration of the game.
Now, Texas had good coverage on this. Number 3, Tex Mercer. Where else could he play? That's his real name, by the way, Tex. Has good coverage. He's the safety back there at the top of the screen. He reads his key. He comes across. That's good coverage. That's just a great throw.
But, you know, it's good work by the quarterback, too.
Yeah.
He stayed in the pocket, stepped up, took his time, and fired it.
Penn State in the power eye right. Kisner, he's rushed. He throws wide open. No, he dropped it. John Walter, the tight end, was not able to hang on as the ball, Kisner throwing against his body, was a little bit short.
3 freshmen in the defensive backfield. Obviously, nobody is supposed to be that alone, especially in the end zone. Oh, that ball, yeah, he trapped it.
Nice play if you're a shortstop, but it doesn't count as a wide receiver. 2nd and goal from the 6. Kevin Woods cutting inside. Oh, as he met and stormed under. No gain. It'll be 3rd down and goal from the 6.
Newt Harrell, number 91, led the charge there. Another freshman along with Tex Mercer, John Hagee, Bobby Duncombe. All freshmen, all getting playing time now for Texas.
Bill Emerson, number 20. He's a senior running back. Just this week was named captain of the special teams. 3rd down and goal just outside the 6.
Playing middle linebacker for Texas, number 60, Britt Hager, another freshman, a pretty famous number. Fellows by the name of Tommy Novus and Jeff Lighting had that number.
From Odessa, 3rd and goal. Penn State doesn't make it. You think Joe would go for the touchdown? Matt Kisner will call timeout. Just kidding, folks. 3 minutes, 20 seconds. Kisner calls a timeout. So we've got a timeout in the 4th quarter. The score, Texas 28 and Penn State 3. We'll be back right after this. At this time, TCS MetroSports would like to thank the following individuals for their assistance in the production of today's telecast. For Penn State University, Athletic Director Jim Tarman, Head Coach Joe Paterno, Sports Information Director Dave Baker, and for the University of Texas, Athletic Director DeLoss Dodds, Head Coach Fred Akers, Sports Information Director Bill Little, and maybe we also ought to thank the Supreme Court for making this type telecast possible for the first time. Both schools have been most cooperative. We hope you've enjoyed the ball game. And as it turns out, you probably are looking at the nation's #1 team heading into next week. Penn State with a 3rd down goal at the 6-yard line. Penn State is in motion, by the way. Matt Kisner's going to be sacked.
First playing time in a big-time arena. Good throw. Good throw.
Waited a little too long, but, you know, it was a good throw. This is the time you pull out the extra scorecard to find out who's in the game.
That's right.
And even then, it's not always there to score. Texas 28, Penn State 3. We'll be back right after this. Man, but he hadn't played well in any of the first 4 games, really.
Well, I think he was very cognizant of the fact to beat Texas. Strang had to have a good day. He didn't have a good day, and then you get caught in this bind. What do you do with a quarterback who's thrown 21 touchdown passes the year before, was one of the premier quarterbacks in the country? You know, what do? You know, so there's a lot of pressure on him right now to get ready for the next game.
3rd down, 6, Texas, their own 7-yard line. Handoff to the fullback inside. Pope gets across the 10 near the 11, but that'll bring up 4th down and about 3 yards to go for the 1st down, and Penn State again uses a timeout. Do you think, George, that he is contemplating a quarterback change at all?
I think he'll start Dougie next week against Maryland. You got to realize now, he missed on a few connections that possibly could have kept the game a little bit more in balance, but he was going against a great defensive football team. So you don't want to just, grade him on that aspect of it. And also, your other quarterbacks are very inexperienced. And I think he'll go with Dougie. And Dougie has a way of rebounding very well. At the beginning of the season, I don't think Penn State thought they could go in, beat Iowa, Texas, Notre Dame, Alabama, all these teams, and beat them all. So they beat Iowa, and today they're going to get beat by Texas, which is a great football team.
Celtics punt takes a roll. It'll be down by Texas at the 48-yard line. Kevin Woods, the freshman tailback, at the Texas 23-yard line.
Again, it's versatility and depth. Maybe not that many starters coming back, but kids like Terry Orr, Jerome Johnson on offense, and kids like Tony DeGreat and others on defense obviously played a lot. And if you talk about depth, Danny Akers and Brett Stafford, their play gave Coach Akers the luxury of moving Rob Morshell to tailback.
Kisner is incomplete, but going to be called interference on the play. The pass intended for George Alpert, and there was a definite bump, and that'll give Penn State the first down.
If you were going to draw up a play where you're going to try to show what interference is, this is it right here. You will see that the Alpert is hit before the ball arrives. You can't do that.
Less than 15 yards, a spot foul, and a first down.
The new rule this year, of course, a 15-yard foul unless you are inside the 20-yard line.
I see the defender tackles the receiver before the ball gets in.
Will give Penn State a first down, but at the 12-yard line.
That helmet's been through a lot.
Kisner throwing in the end zone for Alpert. It is incomplete. Torres on the coverage of George Alpert. It'll be second down and 10 yards to go. 1:23 to play in the game.
What has to please Coach Akers with both the Auburn and the Penn State game are the new players who had the talent but had not been through the wars. And of course, going against two teams like Auburn and Penn State, to come through with the confidence they have to have now for the rest of the year. They had no idea what kind of team they had before they played Auburn. And he thought the Auburn game, the best thing out of it was the confidence building. This game today has to be another step in that confidence building.
Oh, unquestionably. Kisner, look out, blind side. He's going to...
Tilting around definitely had Penn State, really confused in the first half.
Fourth down, 22 from the Texas 24. Kisner throwing in the end zone for Alpert. Incomplete, batted away by Torres. Had him covered, batted it away. Texas will take over on downs. 54 seconds to play in the game.
Ray Torres is a great example of what college football is.